And in 3, 2, 1, go. Hey guys, you're watching Chaotic TV. We're bringing you more from the playoffs of IEM Katowice in Poland, and this is the round of 8 first match. On Daybreak we have this ZVP, and in the top right we have the LGIM player. He is first. Still trying to figure out those camera things. The bottom left of the game, apparently Qtrs couldn't cast when he doesn't have a profile signed in. But anyway, we have the Zerg player playing under the red color. He is Liquid's TLO. Alright, so I'm trying to do something new where I introduce the player's Twitter accounts as well. I am first. It doesn't actually have one. I did a little bit of digging. His Wikipedia has none, and I actually looked on Twitter, and if you type in I am first, you're going to get 170,000 different individual tweets of people misspelling the word I am. But anyway, he doesn't have one, but TLO's is actually spelled exactly like his ID you see right here in the top. It's just Liquid TLO. TLO stands for the Little One. He is a German player out of Leipzig, Deutschland. And he's 22 years old. First is younger than that. It's kind of amazing how young these players are. But we're going to have to wait a little bit to see what these players are going to do. We do see a hatch coming out of TLO. He has not dropped the spawning pool yet. And we're probably going to see Nexus first without a gateway out of first. I actually saw somebody on the ladder the other day go for a Nexus on 10. They didn't even want to spend the 100 on the... Interesting, there was no sound, but didn't want to spend the 10 or the 100 on the pylon and then get the Nexus. So I guess financially they got it about 5 seconds earlier, but their economy was so far behind that they didn't do well at all. But we do have a forge coming out behind this. It's not a gateway fast expand, which we saw for a couple of months in early 2012 or early mid 2012. You see the ballsy players going for a gateway expand, which kind of helped against early rushes. Not as efficiently as cannons do, but when you had a huge number of Zerglings coming in without speed, you could have maybe 3 Zealots in a corner and able to hold them off. So it was really a very micro-intensive type of build. But we do see a gateway coming down. It's a standard Protoss wall-off on this map. You don't often see Protoss going for something other than this unless they do a 1-gate or 1 base pressure and then expand, sometimes even doubly. I think I saw Seed, or it was either Seed or it was Hero do it. It wasn't a StarTel player, it wasn't Squirtle or Parting. Do a double expand. It actually worked out really well for them. I can't remember, but it was on this map. TLO going for the standard Zerg 3 hatch. He did get his spawning pool before he dropped his 3rd hatch, which is pretty standard. It's still standard. There's not going to be any early pressure from either of these players. TLO is a huge fan favorite, and first has gotten to GSL finals before. I can't exactly remember if he's a champion, but he has not disappointed the Incredible Miracle team with his play of late. He is their best Protoss, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember any other Protoss that is on their team. Of course, you remember things like Nesty and I think Biol is on their team now. He used to be an FXO or a Fnatic member. And there's, I'm not confusing it with Beyond Prime. No, I'm not. TLO just checking for some very forward cannons. He will be able to spot this probe unless the probe goes completely into this base, which is what is going to happen. He's going to completely have the perfect timing to put down that forward pylon right here and completely miss all of TLO's scouting. Yeah, he's going to miss that completely. Even if he comes right through here, if the probe gets out of the way, the Zergling's very small view will not be able to see it. Sorry for the yawn. It is 2 in the morning, but I want to get out some more videos for you. I actually have to cut yesterday's videos before I go to bed tonight and wake up 3 hours after that to go to my 40-hour-week job. Woo! TLO is going to lose a Overlord here. It's not going to supply block him, but it will Well, it will now, since he just created these Zerglings, and he has another Overlord coming out right after that. 2 more. He just added on to that one that was already in production. So he's not going to be supply blocked for long. First is a little bit supply blocked. He doesn't have... I won't call him supply blocked because he does have 2 supply left, but if he starts another Zealot or something like that, or the Warp Prism he has going, then yeah, he's supply blocked, and he's got to wait for another 2 more pylons to come out. It's not exactly the best micro you could ever have as a player, but it happens to everybody, even pro players. You know, pylons and probes, SCVs and supply depots, and pretty much just overlords for Zerg. And drones, I suppose. But with Zerg, it's a lot about larva production and larva management. You have to keep your injects up if you want to start stockpiling larva. If you're doing 2 base without hatchery or without queens first, you're going to have to really choose what you're going to build those first larva with. If you're going to go with any kind of Zerglings, you're going to damage your early on economy, but you will be a little bit safer. So it is very important how you deal with that. Now, if TLO goes Muta and he ends up sniping this pylon, he's going to knock out all 3 of these gateways. By the time he had Mutas, he wouldn't be doing a huge amount of damage to the gateways that first is probably going to drop down in the next few minutes, but he's not going for Mutas. He's going for an Infestor Zergling Baneling type setup, and he's probably going to drop I want to say Ultras. It's not a common choice on this map, but we have seen it recently, at least in the video. Ooh, we actually have some decent pressure coming from first right now with this Warp Prism. We should have been paying attention to that. These 2 queens will probably be sniped off. Big force field, blocking them down, and they're just going to get warped in. Drone pull is very good choice by TLO, getting them out of harm's way. But first is continuing up this pressure. He's actually going to be able to knock out this third very quickly. Not taking his own third. Protoss are very powerful on 2 bases. It's a very rookie move to go for a max on 2 bases, but there is the hatchery goes, and first is doing some serious damage, taking the supply lead. You don't often see, or you often see it, but you don't want to be a Zerg down in supply against the Protoss or a Terran. That choke right there with that force field actually hurts first Zealots because it gives the Roaches a little bit of protection, especially when they're so low on health right now. A 2-shot from Zerg is probably going to do some decent damage against them and start knocking out this count really quickly. The Protoss pressure is finished, but it's 2 bases versus 2 bases. TLO has a little bit of a supply lead right now. In Harvesters, though, he's only 2 ahead, which is not where you want to be as a Zerg at this point in the game. Ooh, an Immortal, pair of Immortals is coming out. That's a huge number of sentries, so he might be doing a delayed push right now. TLO has spotted that there's an expansion out here for first coming underway, and if he is able to keep the Warp Prism play up, then he will be doing a serious amount of damage. More Immortals are coming in, and if TLO keeps going with this Roach pressure, then he's going to be in big trouble. But he's actually not. He's going back into his Ling production. It's a good idea, especially against all these Immortals. It's more difficult when you have all these sentries that are able to funnel the Zerglings into the path of a number of Zealots or something like that. But we do see Roach speed, Zerg Carapace level 2, which is going to help both Roaches and Zerglings, and the, what do they call it, Pathogen Glands just finished for the Infestors, which is why he had some started already. He wanted to get those to finish just as Pathogen Glands upgraded. The third base is coming down for LGIMs first, and TLO would do well to probably to drop a 4th just to keep up his production. He does need another hatchery if he's going to continue with this Ling production. How much larva does he have? He just had a fresh spout of larva, and he continues to create those Infestors, and he's going to do some pressure at the nexus of LGIM's first, third base, but these sentries are going to do some serious force fielding if he had continued with it, but he hasn't. TLO is a little bit ahead of where he should be in supply, but he did lose a hatchery, and he didn't build a macro hatch on the back of this to continue up his production. If he had done so, he would probably have some more drones right now, and he could have been a bit further ahead in the supply count right now. First is going to continue this Warp Prism harassment. He's going to drop in the main, but there are plenty of Zerglings here that he doesn't know about yet. And if he tries to drop and snipe tech, he's really not going to get anything. He might get this infestation pit or anything like that, but there's really nothing else to snipe. I mean, it's very low tech out of TLO right now, only layer tech. There's nothing in the way that's going to tell us that he's going for hive tech. If he went for hive tech, he could get at least adrenal glands, which would be a huge help to him. I mean, granted, it's only a little bit of time and a little bit of extra minerals and gas to go for that hive and just get adrenal glands. And if he continues these upgrades at 2-2, he's going to start a hive soon, essentially just to get 3-3 out of his upgrades. First doing a little bit of posturing, TLO doing a little bit of posturing of his own. That is a huge amount of Zerglings. There are no Banelings in this to defeat the sentries or slam into these. That's actually a little attempt at a run by TLO, but he's losing a huge amount of Zerglings right now. All of his roaches are dying, and he's going to continue up with this pressure. Big fungals on those sentries. He's going to try to chain fungal him, but the blink forward by these stalkers is just taking out everything, and TLO knows he's so far behind right now, he's just going to tap out, and that is the end of Game 1. IEM's first takes the first game in this best of 5 series, and we're going to keep bringing you more best of 5s from IEM Katowice in the coming days, but we're going to jump into Game 2 right now, so you don't have to wait very long. From Chaotic TD, I am KO, and thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Cheers.